Alfa Romeo Stelvio is the first SUV in the Italian carmaker's 100-year history. It's based on the same platform and technology as the Alfa Romeo Giulia Saloon, and it aims to bring both style and a sporty driving experience to the mid-size premium SUV segment. As such, its clear targets are rivals such as the Porsche Macan, Jaguar F-Pace, BMW X3 and X4 and Audi Q5, though prospective buyers may also consider the Mercedes-Benz GLC and Lexus NX. The name Stelvio comes from the highest Alpine pass in Italy, a road famed for its numerous hairpin corners, which challenge and reward keen drivers. The Stelvio uses Alfa's Q4 all-wheel drive system. Powerful engines but limited choice. At launch the Stelvio is available with only 2 engines and 3 standard trim levels: Stelvio, Stelvio Super and Stelvio Tecnica. All Stelvios are generously equipped, including a number of the latest active safety technologies, as well as the DNA driving mode selector and 8.8-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Engine choice comprises 1 petrol and 1 diesel, both are 4-cylinder turbocharged units. An 8-speed automatic gearbox and Q4 all-wheel drive system come as standard. The 2.0-litre petrol produces 280 horsepower, while the 2.2-litre diesel produces 210 horsepower. Performance is certainly brisk, with 0-62 miles per hour taking as little as 5.7 seconds and top speed rated at up to 143 miles per hour. Both represent attractive proposition, though most will likely choose the additional economy of the diesel over the extra performance of the petrol. In time, Alfa Romeo will introduce a range-topping Stelvio Quadrifoglio, powered by the same turbocharged V6 as the Giulia Quadrifoglio. This promises to be very fast indeed. A 180 horsepower rear-wheel drive only version of the 2.2-litre diesel, and a 200 horsepower 2.0-litre petrol are also planned for the future. Alfa Romeo Stelvio has to be among the prettiest SUVs. While you wouldn't necessarily equate a car of these ungainly proportions with decent looks, Alfa's design department has been doing what it does best, and the result is a machine that looks, well, not half bad. It's certainly up there in the aesthetic arena with the Porsche Macan and Renault's Kadjar, 2 cars we'd say are the better looking of the SUVs on sale. What's in a name? Ensuring that it handles the corners as well as the straights, Alfa Romeo has given the Stelvio particularly sharp steering, far sharper than any other SUV, and a sophisticated Alpha-Link suspension design. Both aspects are similar to the Giulia, but redeveloped for the extra mass and increased rider height of an SUV. The results are impressive, as the Stelvio does a great job of resisting body roll. But the firmness necessary to achieve this does come at the cost of some ride comfort. Interior quality isn't quite up with the best in the class, and most competitors offer a greater number of high-touch options. But you may find the design inside and out attractive enough to forgive this. It's a very likable vehicle overall, with distinctive character and plenty of performance. We would seriously consider choosing one over an F-Pace, though perhaps not over a Porsche Macan. The Stelvio's driving experience is good, but doesn't quite get under your skin in the same way. The Alfa Romeo is more practical than the Porsche, however. In SUV terms, the Stelvio certainly places a priority on performance. There might only be 2 engines to choose from, but they both pack plenty of punch. 280 horsepower petrol. The petrol option is a 2.0-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that produces 280 horsepower and 400 Nm of torque pulling power. The raw performance figures are 0-62 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds and 143 miles per hour flat out, and it's certainly keen to get going on the road, helped by an impressively low for an SUV curb weight of 1,660 kilograms. The 8-speed automatic, the same ZF transmission used by a number of other carmakers, including BMW and Jaguar, provides snappy manual changes but also works intuitively when left to its own devices. That said, the petrol doesn't sound especially inspiring, and it lacks the higher zing you might expect from a sporty Alfa Romeo engine. So it's fast, but not especially soulful. it is still the engine we would choose if running costs were no object. 210 horsepower diesel. The 210 horsepower 2.2-litre diesel does 062 miles per hour in 6.6 seconds and has a 133 miles per hour top speed. Despite this, and 470 Newton-meters of torque, we thought it felt a little slow. This probably wasn't helped by the high-altitude alpine test route, so we'll update this impression after we've driven it in the UK. At 1,659 kilograms it weighs almost exactly the same as the petrol, and produces its performance smoothly enough. But it also sounds very thin and reedy, which becomes quite grating over time, especially as there's more engine noise inside than you might expect from a car of this class. Both the gearbox and the engine response can be fine-tuned to a certain degree by the DNA driving mode switch, which offers a choice of dynamic, natural and advanced efficiency settings. Alfa Romeo throws around all sorts of complex terminology, such semi-virtual steering axis and patented 4.5-link rear suspension, when describing the Stelvio's chassis design. All you really need to know is that for an SUV it stays remarkably flat when tackling even very tight corners. In fact, Alfa Romeo reckons it not only outperforms all its direct rivals in this regard, but that the Stelvio rolls less than some competitors' saloon cars. Certainly its resistance to lean is very impressive, and with the super sharp steering, which is most definitely quicker than any alternative SUV, you can cut quite the dash along a mountain road. Quick but muted, the steering is not especially communicative, however, as if holding you at slight remove. This means the Stelvio doesn't feel quite as involving to drive as some rivals, notably the Porsche Macan. Similarly, while the Q4 four-wheel drive system is heavily robust, only engaging the front wheels when required, it's not as dynamic as the Porsche system. The optional relimited slip differential may improve this, but we are yet to try it. The steering weighting changes not just with the DNA driving mode selector, but also the speed you're traveling. We found this well judged, creating little cause for complaint. Of the two, the petrol is the keener to change direction. Not that the diesel is any slouch in this regard. Easy to drive, for all that this sounds quite aggressive in its appeal to keen drivers, the Stelvio is still an easy car to drive. With good visibility and very light steering at low speeds, it is straightforward to maneuver around town. At first glance the Stelvio's interior looks rather alluring. There's what appears to be a large widescreen display for the infotainment in the center, and some interesting choices of aluminium and wood trim, the latter not to everyone's taste, but still. Get closer, however, and the quality sadly seems more supermini than premium exec, if at least on par with the Jaguar F-Pace, and you realize that the limited amount of button clutter is because it doesn't really have that many toys. Plus the screen isn't as big as it seems, as there's a large bezel on either side of the square display area. Still, the rotary controller makes the infotainment system easy to navigate and the menu system is easy to understand. Shame the gloss top of the controller is a magnet for fingerprints, and the rotating mechanism doesn't feel as premium as rival equivalents from BMW and Audi. The uncovered, but illuminated, USB port positioned a center in the middle console seems haphazard as well. On a more positive note, the vast, column-mounted paddle shifters for the automatic transmission are gorgeous pieces of aluminium art, making an already great gearbox a pleasure to use. This is where you start to pay the price for that keen cornering capability. To keep a big, tall car like the Stelvio upright in the turns you need firm suspension, and this does have an impact on ride comfort. Diesel does it better. Driving on launch in Italy, the diesel we drove felt impressively well damped at first, especially considering it was fitted with larger 19-inch alloy wheels, 17-inch and 18-inch as standard, depending on trim level. However, on less pristine surfaces it began to exhibit a jiggling sensation that, if not actually uncomfortable, certainly veered strongly towards the annoying. And we fear that such surfaces are similar to the kind you get far more commonly in the UK. By comparison, the petrol, also on 19-inch wheels, immediately felt firmer, more uncompromising, and more unsettled at the back. The petrol is dynamically superior to the diesel, So this makes some sense. But it will be less comfortable in the UK. Noisy. We've already mentioned that the engines aren't particularly nice sounding in the performance section, and that you can hear a little too much of the diesel for a premium car. Both the Stelvios we've tested so far have also suffered for a high degree of whine noise, seemingly caused by poor seals around the windows. Road noise is well suppressed, though, even on the optional 19-inch alloy wheels.
Yeah.